Hey, welcome back to Linfant's Cocktails. Tonight we're going to make a New Orleans themed cocktail, the Bywater. The Bywater was created in 2007 by Chris Hanna at Arno's French 75 bar in New Orleans. The Bywater gets its name from a famous neighborhood in New Orleans called the Bywater area. It's an older kind of Caribbean themed area, not themed, but you know, it's got some essences of the old traditional Caribbean trade that came through New Orleans a lot. It's a very vibrant neighborhood still to this day, even though it was heavily affected during Katrina. It's pretty okay now. The Bywater is a Brooklyn riff, which is a riff on a Manhattan, as you all probably know. But what I find really cool about this is that it subs out a lot of the key characteristics with things that I'm really liking right now, like rum. So we take out the whiskey and we put in rum. Today we're gonna use Angostura 1919. We've got some green chartreuse, bright herbal liqueur. We've got Averna. Now sometimes the original bartender would use Amir Picon, but today we're gonna use a substitute, which is Averna and orange bitters. It also uses Falernum to bring some nice Caribbean spices, and it's all stirred up, so let's give it a go. All right, our first ingredient, 1 3/4 ounces of our rum. Half an ounce of green chartreuse. 3/4 ounce of Averna, 1/4 ounce of velvet Falernum. And we'll do 2 dashes of orange bitters, 2 dashes Peychaud's bitters, maybe 2.5. We'll go ahead and drop in our ice. There we go. We're going to give that a stir. Just like always, we know when it's done when we start to get a lot of cold condensation on the outside. Definitely starting to get some, but I want to stir it for a little bit more to make sure it's really, really cold. It's not going to get any colder once we strain it. There we go. All right, we'll go ahead and strain that to our chilled glass. Perfect. Express some orange oil over top. Give it a good wipe around there. Maybe spill a little orange on the stem. We're not going to garnish with it though. And we're going to garnish with a cocktail cherry. All right, cheers. Let's try our very full Bywater. Okay, right away, I'm surprised to say this, but even though I expressed a lot of orange oil over the top, the first thing that I get, and honestly one of the biggest flavors that I'm tasting so far, is that green chartreuse. It's not super surprising. Green chartreuse is 55% by volume, so it's very strong compared to the rum that I use, which is like 40 something percent by volume. I'm not really sure. I'll put it in later. You definitely get a lot of those rum undertones. The 1919 is a Trinidad-based rum, so you get that Trinidad-based rum, a little bit of rough around the edges, but it's not overpowering like a Corona or anything. You get a little bit of that chocolatey taste from the Averna. The Peychaud's bitters are honestly completely wiped away from the taste profile from what I can tell. There's usually a strong anise flavor in Peychaud's, and I'm not picking up on any of that. But I will say there is a little bit of orangeness, and I don't know if that's from the bitters or from the oil that's pressed on top, but it's coming through really nicely. I'd say this is a very tasty cocktail, and as I'm letting it evolve a little bit more, I'm getting a little bit of that ginger sweetness that I find to be very prevalent in Falernum. So that's coming through as well, but I would still say the dominant flavor is that half ounce of green chartreuse. If I were to remake this, maybe I'd dial that down to 1/4 just to see what happens and let the other flavors kind of shine a little bit more, because green chartreuse is definitely overpowering in a lot of cocktails, but in this, it could be dialed back a little bit, but I think this is really tasty. I think this is a really great cocktail. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Cheers, and if you made the Bywater, let me know what you think. Also, any other New Orleans cocktails, please let me know. I always want to make the cocktails from my hometown. Cheers.